Looking at your guys, right? We talk about four of your guys right now are in the top 10 in the NBA in scoring, which that might be a record. I don't know if there's a trainer who has four guys in the top 10. Might have to look that stat up. Uh, One thing that stands out about the improvement of your players is it's consistent over time. It's every year they add a layer to their game. There's a lot of really good players who are who they are, and they just ride off that. And maybe they get a little bit better each year. But you look at somebody like Brad, every single year he gets better. It's like, 5 years ago, hey, he's, a top player in the NBA. He's really good. Now is he leading the league in scoring? I mean,
Yeah,
last
he's
year,
leading the league in scoring by 4 points a game.
yeah, and last year he averages 30 points. It's like he keeps getting better. Same thing with Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine's like, borderline star. He's like really good, but he's not. He didn't. He's not over the hump yet, and now he's a superstar. So the consistency of the growth, where does that come from? Is that just strictly their mentality? Is it you constantly pushing them? Is it you reminding them that there's another level? I'm just curious, how do your guys consistently improve over time like that?
I would say a couple of things. I would say one, I'm very selective with who I work with in the aspect of I only take players that love the game, that crave improvement, and that are coachable. If those three things aren't there, I'm just not going to work with them. I mean, you've seen me. I kick out a lot of NBA players out of the gym after a day, after a week, just because I know that at some point there's going to be conflict. They're going to hit a wall at some point if they don't love the game of basketball, if they don't crave coachable. And so instead of, me investing 3 years into them and then boom, hit that wall and then we go our separate ways, I just choose it, don't have any issues in those three categories so that we can, lock in and rock out for the rest of our career. Mm-hmm. Another thing is once those three things happen, I make sure that I'm on the same guys as far as the long-term development process, and so if you look at like a guy like Brad Beal, a couple of years back, it wasn't really an all-star snub, but Joe Johnson got over him as a replacement, and Brad averaged more points, rebounds, assists. I think the only thing Joe Johnson did better was he averaged maybe 0.1 more blocks. But Brad had beat him in every category, and the Wizards had a better record at the time. Now, Joe Johnson had been an all-star over and over again. It's hard to get that first all-star nod. But Brad was frustrated, and I said, hey, listen, we got to take your game to the next level. And so what we did was we laid out a plan where we said, this year, we're just going to work on your hesitation. We think that you adding a little fast twitch hezi is going to really take your game to the next level because you're already such a good shooter. It'll open up driving opportunities. Mm-hmm. So that entire summer, that's all we worked on. Boom, he sees his points per game jump up. Next year, hey, now we're getting downhill more, but now we've got to be able to finish better because the finishing rate wasn't there. Boom, that's all we work on the next summer. Then that next summer it was, hey, now let's work on, we got to get to the free throw line more because all the best scorers in the league are getting to the line 7-8 times a game. So then we worked on drawing contact, veering on driving angle, creative ways to pick up more fouls. And then we, added range. We said, all right, now we more threes because, if we shoot more threes, not only is it going to make the defense extend out, but then and play you a different way, which is easier to split ball screens to get downhill, et cetera, but also analytically, it's a lot better to shoot a three than a mid-range shot. And so we just literally every year we add one thing to maximum three game. And so, this year, the only thing we worked on with Zach was his pace. Jason Tatum 2 years ago, all we worked on was his sidestep. Last year, he shoots 43% sidestep threes, which is actually better than his catch and shoot threes. I don't know if it's because that's all we worked on all summer, or if he just, felt really comfortable. But that's the approach we take. And I think it's also important. I'm going to bring up a guy that we both work with, Shimi Olje, who's a guy that when he came in the NBA, he was a guy that we knew was going to be a 3-and-D player. And he was a guy that, we said, hey, listen, mechanically on your jump shot, he really held the ball on his side. He had the ball, like his hand on the side of the ball, and because he had no wrist flexibility. And I know that's something you guys have worked on, and also he's worked on with Jason as far as therapy goes. And we said, hey, year one, we're just going to try to get really good at, basically wide open catch and shoot jump shots. Year two, we're going to work on wide open catch and shoot jump shots or attacking closeouts. So if they run you off the line, attack closeouts. Year three was now let's work on moving shots. Year four was now let's work on actually being a player. And so some people might say, that's crazy. You're holding them back. But the truth is Now he's developed into a really good 3-and-D player because he's learned how to specialize in that role. He's shooting it at his career high numbers, et cetera, just because he took it one phase at a time instead of him working on every aspect of his game, finishing, ball handling, shooting, this and that, where he would have never been a good enough shooter, a good enough finisher, or a good enough defender to ever earn the time and the role that he has now.